while since I made a video, but this Mike Brown shit's just getting out of control, so I'm going to make this video, and it'll probably be the first and only one that I'm going to make on this. But I have a lot of things I want to talk about, so I'm going to get right to it. First, there was the accounts that he was shot in the back because of what witnesses said and blah blah blah. According to the autopsy report, the first shot, one of the shots that hit him in the arm could have come from the back. They don't know, and that could have been what turned him around. That's quite possible. It's also quite possible that the officer, when he started shooting, missed, and Mike Brown knew he was being shot at, so he turned around, put his hands up, and was surrendering, as what all the witnesses that were on the scene have reported. So why people are saying that it's not possible that he wasn't shot from behind is ridiculous, because it's very possible that that cop shot, hit him in the arm, and then he turned around, realizing he was hit, and was like, okay, stop, whatever. So that's the first thing I want to start off with. The second thing I want to go to is Darren Wilson not being injured on the scene. We see the cell phone video of him just walking around, minding his business. And if you Google broken orbital eye socket, you'll see it's big red. He would have been all swollen. He would have been in pain. He would have been at the very least, touching his eye, you know, doing that. Other officers would have been coming up to him saying, hey man, you need to go to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. An ambulance wasn't called for him. He wasn't taken to the hospital until later on, supposedly by like a deputy chief or somebody else who worked in the police department. That right there is suspect. And I'll be the first one to say it. I firmly believe he wasn't injured on the scene at all, because if he would have had a broken orbital eye socket, he would have been touching his eye. He would have been some sort of in pain. He would have, you know, people on the scene would have reported that too. But nobody said that on the scene. Nobody said he was, you know, looking like he was in pain. He was holding his head, blah, blah, blah. So I firmly believe that he was taken to the hospital by another police officer, who then punched that motherfucker in the eye to make sure he had injuries to go along with this. And yes, I'm completely calling a fucking cover-up and conspiracy on that shit, because watching him on that videotape, he's just walking around looking at the dead body, not giving two fucking shits about what's going on. But he's not in any point holding his eye. He's not in any point acting like he's in any sort of pain. And what, you know, if he was so damaged and so beat up, why haven't we seen a picture of this injury? Or are they waiting until the day of his arraignment like Zimmerman did, so somebody can sell that to ABC News and make a few bucks, and then they'll have a news tweet? Is that what's happening? Because it's just ridiculous. If the police knew that he was really beaten and all this bullshit, they would have put that shit out there for the world to see, to try to calm some of the situation down. But they haven't, because it didn't happen. And the asshole that has put up that CT scan of a digital, of a broken eye socket, stole that from a website, and now all of these Fox News, the racist tree people, all these people are calling that gospel. That wasn't Darren Wilson's CT scan. That was something stolen from the University of Iowa. So, but yet these people want to jump on that and believe that that's, you know, the gospel. That's the truth. That's his CT scan. It's not. Next, the big thing is the cell phone video with the person in the background saying that Mike Brown ran towards the officer. That's not what he says. The direct quote is, and the next thing I know, he's coming back towards him because the police already had his gun drawn on him. And the police just kept dumping on him, and I'm thinking the police kept missing. See? There you go. That in no way says he was charging. There was a new witness yesterday that came out, Mike Brady, I believe his name was, or something Brady, who lived in the apartment complex, who saw it, heard it going on from his apartment, then looked out the window, and then ran outside with his cell phone to see what he could get on tape. If you listen to what he says, it completely backs up what the other 4 witnesses that were on the scene said that we've heard about. Is that he heard a couple shots, and Mike Brown turned around. He said he might have been taking 1 or 2 steps, but he was holding his stomach bent over like this. Now, Darren Wilson is nothing but at least 5'10", maybe 5'11" at the max. Darren Wilson is, Mike Brown was 6'3", 6'4". People were trying to say that he was bent over charging to the officer. I challenge you to run and bend over like you're charging somebody, bent over that far. When the cop has his gun drawn like so, that's going to bring his distance down another 6 to 7, 8 inches. So now, Mike Brown had to have been bent at the waist in order for that shot to go right at the top of his head. The only people that charge like that are the people that start on a football field on, with their hand on the ground and then they charge the person right in front of them. Nobody charges somebody bent at the waist like that that's 35 feet away. He was falling down on the ground, surrendering with his hands up, holding his other injuries, and the motherfucker kept unloading on him. That in and of itself is first-degree murder. That is enough probable cause right there with the witness statements that we've already heard for him to be charged. But yet, these people want to believe that that one sentence that says, and the next thing I know, he's coming towards him. Yeah, a witness on the scene said that he was stumbling towards him. That does not mean you're charging towards him. That doesn't mean anything. That motherfucker had a knee-jerk reaction and just kept unloading on him. Instead of using any other means necessary to him, his first option was a gun. And let's talk about this. He was accused of stealing those cigars, and that's why the people are now saying that Officer Wilson heard that on the police radio, and that's what triggered him to get out and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's say that that's true. Since when is lethal force needed for somebody who is running from you? Why didn't he stay in his car, call for backup, and try to follow him from his car to see where he ran to instead of getting out and shooting the motherfucker? I mean, that's why people are screaming excessive force, because it is excessive force. The shop owner didn't even call the cops because he said it was no big deal. He stole a few cigars and he might have pushed him or whatever. But he didn't call the cops. It was a customer who called the cops. So if the person who was assaulted didn't think that it was a big enough deal to call the cops, why should these racist motherfuckers in the police think that they have the right to chase him down and gun him down and shoot him at least 6 times? We don't know how many shots the officer actually fired, but we know that 6 hit him. That motherfucker could have unloaded his whole entire clip. We don't know. And the people who were supporting the officer don't know either. None of us have seen any of that forensic evidence. None of them. But yet they want to jump on it and say that they're completely right and everyone else is completely wrong. Bullshit. And we all know about the racist tree people and all of those people. And I encourage you to go to their website. Don't even try to leave a comment because it'll be moderated because they like a one-sided conversation over there. But they're using terms like safari rule, blacks don't have fathers, and that's why all this is, that's why blacks are animals, and they deserve everything they're getting, and this rioting and looting. It's just sickening, and that's really what's got me to make this one video, because it's just gotten out of control. It's like we're living in 1950 with technology. It's fucking crazy, it's disgusting, and it just makes my blood boil. And why I bring them up is because if you go to their website, you'll read that they've had no less than 50 posts since this has gone on about Ben Crump, Daryl Parks, the NAACP, the riots and how they're savages and animals and they all deserve what's coming to them and blah, blah, blah. Well, it came out yesterday or the night before that Darren Wilson, the murdering officer, his mother was a convicted felon. He was then put into state's custody and raised by the state until he turned 18 and then was released. But yet you're not going to see that post on their website. They're going to post how Mike Brown was this big thug, and they'll show pictures of some guy holding money in his mouth, pointing like he's shooting at a camera that isn't Mike Brown, but they'll claim that that's Mike Brown and then write a whole story about it. But you are never going to see on their website that Darren Wilson's mother was a convicted felon, that he came from a broken home, and that's probably a lot of the reasons why this man is so aggressive and why he had such power-hungry issues in him. But yet the police chief will come out and say, oh, he was gentle and he was kind, and all of those people will accept that for gospel. They'll say, oh, he was a gentle man, he was great, he was blah, 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 he just made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the victim who's lying dead on the street, when his friends come out and say he was gentle, they don't give him that same sort of respect, saying, oh, he was gentle, he just made a mistake that day. Nope, he's already a thug, he deserved to die, he deserved everything he got. The racism in this country is just overwhelmingly disgusting. And that website is the fucking inbred cousin of Stormfront. They just don't like to use the word nigger. That's the only difference between them. You're never going to see the true facts about Darren Wilson come out on that website because they're only interested in vilifying the black person. The white person is an angel. No matter what they did, they are an angel. Then you have Josie, this new third-party witness who didn't even talk to Officer Brown. If you listen to that interview, she says that she got her information from fucking Facebook. Yet the news is now reporting this, and all of these people that are supporting Darren Wilson are taking her version as gospel. What do you expect the bitch to say? She's a friend with the guy. Of course she's going to support his side. But why did they take her word for gospel? She wasn't on the scene, seen nothing, is getting a second-hand account. But yet all of the 5 witnesses that we've seen so far have come out and said almost exactly the same story. That Mike Brown was running away. The officer was shooting. He turns around, puts his hands up, and the officer kept unloading on him. Those are 5 people that we've seen so far that were on the scene and seen this shit happen, took cell phone videos. There was a guy that live tweeted it, blah, blah, blah. But yet, they're lying and they're against the cops and they have an agenda. They just want to see a white man go down. Yet this Josie woman is their queen. She wasn't even there. She hasn't even talked to Darren Wilson. She got her information from Facebook. And yet, they believe every fucking single thing that she says. Now, you have to question why they'll question somebody who wasn't there, who of course who knows the officer personally, who of course is going to take his side, but yet they discount every witness on the scene as having an agenda. Who really has the agenda? Josie. So the news needs to quit reporting on that bitch because she wasn't there. She doesn't know what she's talking about. But the 5 witnesses that we've seen so far are all, remarkably, all similar accounts. And the vantage points from these people that we see in the cell phone videos, they weren't all in the same spot together. They might know each other. We don't know that either. They might not know each other. But the fact is, they're reporting virtually the same exact thing. And these people that want to support this white officer just completely discount them as having an agenda. That shows their racism. So, we also have, well, I'll save that. We have the same thing happen in Zimmerman. This man has now raised over close to $150,000 for these people. He probably makes at the most $40,000, $45,000 a year in the capacity that he's in Ferguson. He now has 3 years worth of free income to sit around on his vacation while he faces probably no criminal charges. This will probably all get covered up and Ferguson is probably really going to blow up. But that's the fact. That's the fact. These people know nothing more than the rest of us, yet they've already given him the benefit of the doubt and sent him almost $150,000 out of their racist views. They want to say that the rest of us are wrong because we've jumped to this conclusion and we've already convicted the cop. Well, you've already convicted Mike Brown. So what is the difference? Why is it okay for you to do it based on no evidence, and it's not okay for us to do it based on a shitload of fucking evidence? It shows that this cop was over-aggressive and used excessive force to the point where he fucking killed an unarmed teenager. I mean, it just happens over and over. You have the St. Louis people that shot the mentally guy with the knife the other day. The police chief comes out and says that he had a knife up over his hand going to, kill him, and he charged him. Then we see the cell phone video. The knife is down by his side, and he starts walking towards them, and they fucking unload 10 rounds on him. Because he said, shoot me, kill me now. And they did. So apparently, that's all it takes these days, is for you to call the police, or go to the store and steal something, let them show up, and say, shoot me, and they will. That's as easy as it is these days. Shoot me, okay. And now these people are on paid vacation, and they will probably never hold any consequences just because the guy had a knife, even though the police chief came out and lied. Based on the video evidence that we see, the account that he gave does not match the video evidence. Yet these people will probably face no consequences either, and just get a nice paid leave. You have the mayor of Ferguson, who, as late as 2 days ago, has come out and said that there's no race problems in Ferguson. That man needs to go. He needs to resign. He needs to be ousted out of office. If he wants to honestly, with a straight face, get on the news and say that there's not a race problem when there has been protests for 10 days now in that city, or 11 days, however many days it's been now, he has a serious disconnect with the problems that his constituents are facing. He needs to go. I also want to address something a little off the topic, but Anderson Cooper was on TV last night giving a live report, and there was protesters going behind him as they've been every night, chanting and doing what they were doing. And Anderson Cooper on live TV looks over and says, "Could y'all quiet down and have a little fucking respect?" Anderson, you're at a protest. It doesn't matter if you're on live TV or not. Who's the one not having respect? It's you. You don't look at protesters who has no idea you're on a live feed and like they give a fuck, but you're going to tell them to have a little respect? You're in their house. You have a little fucking respect for them. The only reason you're even there is because you like to be in any fucking world conflict that you can be, because CNN will send you there because they think you're a pretty face. You're not the greatest reporter in the world. You're nobody fucking special. You have a little goddamn respect, you asshole. Not that that's a big deal, but that really just pissed me off last night. And then added with him, you have Officer Fuck You, who's pointing guns at people, which in and of itself, that one incident that was seen by people all over the world on live stream, it was seen by producers of these of these news shows, it was seen by the anchors of these news shows that are on the ground. That in and of itself shows what the police mentality is like. If they will do that when millions of cameras and millions of people are watching, what do you think they're doing when nobody's watching and nobody's recording? And yet the people that are supporting Darren Wilson are saying that, oh no, the police are great, you can't, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can. Almost anybody who's had any reaction with the cop that didn't get on your fucking knees and start sucking his dick knows that cops are fucking assholes and power hungry and will do anything up into and including planting evidence, lying on you, everything they can. And you go to court, and because they're a police officer, they're given this higher integrity than you are, even though they're doing exactly what the protesters are saying. He pointed a semi-assault rifle at them and said, I'll fucking kill you. I mean, that's the whole point of why this is going on. That in and of itself proves that the people have a very strong right to protest, and a strong right for rules and regulations on people that do shit like this. And that's why every one of these officers in their cars, they need to have a body GoPro cam on them, they need to be mic'd up, and their cars need to have dash cams. Ferguson has none of their cars have dash cams, but they were given some dash cams that are still sitting in the box that have never been installed earlier in the year. How long does it take? You don't have a fucking mechanic there that can install a few dash cams into your cars? The reason they haven't installed those dash cams is for reasons exactly like this. They don't want the world to know what they're doing. Without video evidence, they can go in and say any fucking thing they want. But with video evidence, they have to tell the truth, and they have to hold themselves to the higher standard they're supposed to. And had there been dash cam video of this, Officer Wilson probably would have been arrested 5 minutes after the fucking shooting. But because there's not, and because you have that district attorney whose father was killed by a black man back in the 60s, his father was also a police officer, you have him who's not willing to press charges with the vast amount of evidence pointing that this man used excessive force and committed murder. He hasn't pressed any charges yet. Instead, he's elected to go to a secret grand jury that we will never know anything about because it's secret. So if they choose not to indict, there's nothing that can be done after that. Do you really think the man whose father was killed by a black man in the 60s, whose father was also a police officer, whose mother works at a police station, whose uncle is a police officer, whose nephew is a police officer, on and on and on, do you really think that he's going to go in there and vigorously present all of the evidence that is available to him to get a conviction for this officer? That's why these people are protesting. They know that no matter what happens, that this is going to get swept under the rug, that Darren Wilson's going to get off with a slap on the wrist, a nice fucking fat paycheck from all these racists donating to him, and reassigned to, you know, a desk job, or he'll quit and end up in some other community somewhere. That's what they're pissed about. They don't get justice because they have people like that that are in power that don't give a fuck if they get justice, and before the evidence is even out, already condemn them to being guilty. That's exactly why the police chief released that video the day that Darren Wilson's name came out, was because he wanted to take the distraction off of Darren Wilson and demonize the victim. That's what they do. They're going to demonize the victim and heroize, or whatever the word you want to use, Darren Wilson. Because they protect each other. That's what they do. And that's why these people have every right they have to be angry and protest. Then you have the two fucking idiots last night that showed up that are supporting Darren Wilson at the Mike Brown protest with their signs, and you see the police nicely whisk them away for their safety. Yet when you see these police officers, that there's people standing in the street the other night with their hands up, don't shoot, and these come motherfucking tackle these motherfuckers. The difference? The people being tackled are black, the people being tear gassed are black, the people that came out to support Darren Wilson was an old white woman and her husband. And they got the kid glove treatment. They should have got tackled to the ground like the rest of them. They were inciting a riot. You don't go to a protest being all for Mike Brown, all on one side, knowing those people went there exactly to get the coverage that they got. They went there to exactly incite a riot, and they need to be charged for that. You don't go to a protest from the other side of the protest and think that you're going to be taken nicely and seriously. Yet the cops treated them with kid gloves, and they tackle and arrest and shoot tear gas and bullets and everything else they can at the civilized protesters. That's a big difference right there, too. That, again, confirms exactly what these people are saying. The police are over-aggressive towards black people, and white people get a pass. There may be more black people in jail, but it's not because more white people aren't committing crimes. It's because more white people don't have those charges pressed against them. They're given the benefit of their doubt. They're just, saying, oh, don't do it again, slap on the wrist. But if you're a black person in America, you are automatically guilty. It's not innocent until proven guilty with a black person. It is guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. And sometimes even when you can prove yourself innocent, you're still guilty. And that's what the uproar about. It's not just about this singular shooting of Mike Brown. It's about a long, 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 long history of black people being oppressed and treated like second and third class citizens, and not, having their rights under the Constitution validated like white people's rights. That's exactly why this is blowing up. And that's exactly why if Darren Wilson isn't indicted and charged with murder and convicted, it's going to get even uglier. Because once again, the black people are just going to have it slapped in their face that their lives don't matter, and that the only thing that matters is the white person's life. And that's why these protests are going on. I guess that's about it for everything I want to talk about. So, like I said, this will probably be my only video. I've been around the block with the Trayvon Martin thing. I know how this plays out. I know that as soon as I post this video, there's going to be people in there calling me fag, nigger lover, having white guilt, blah, blah, blah. Been there, done that. Got the fucking t-shirt, So, go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and try and dox me. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Everybody who followed the Trayvon Martin case knows who I am. But this stuff is making my blood boil, so I just wanted to post this one video to share my side of the story and what I believe is going on there. And I'm sure a lot of you agree with me, but I'm expecting all of the fag, nigger, lover comments because that's what's going to happen. Y'all can try to out me, do whatever you want. I don't care. You can call me, racist. Just, I'm just. Somebody called me before that I was the leader of the black racism. Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. I just get very upset when anybody is oppressed. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, Mexican. Oppression is oppression. It doesn't matter who it is. And these people are being oppressed, and it needs to be stopped and dealt with. Our country needs to really step up and realize that we do have a major, major, major race issue in this country. And, it's just sickening, and it's overwhelming, and it's getting out of control. And the internet has allowed a lot of these racists to come out of the woodwork. They'll hide behind their screen avatars, and they'll call you every name under the book. They'll get on your Facebook page, and they'll post your pictures, and they'll steal your pictures, and they'll edit them, and they'll put captions over them, and they'll spread it out to the world, all while hiding in their mom's basement, afraid to show their face, because they know they would never say this stuff to me on the street, because I would fucking fight you. I might lose, because I'm not the strongest person in the whole wide world, but you're never going to say this shit to my face, but you have no problem saying on the internet. If you want to truly be your racist self, put your fucking hood on, lift it up so the world can fucking see it, and then say your bullshit, and then we can have a real conversation. But as long as you're hiding behind an avatar and a secret screen name on the internet, you're nothing but a big fat fucking pussy racist. And all of you people that are supporting Darren Wilson before you have the facts, even in light of all the facts that have come out and all the eyewitnesses, you people are fucking racist. I don't want to hear, oh, I have black friends, oh, blah, blah, blah. That's the new era of racism. You are fucking racist. Every one of you that have sent money to this man because you know he's innocent when all the facts haven't come out, but yet the vast majority of all the evidence that has been released so far points to the fact that this man is a murderer. You are racist, and you are the problem. And I said it in the Trayvon Martin case, and I'll say it in this. It might sound harsh, and it might, whatever you want to call it, but I wish, I'm not threatening, because that's what you people are going to say in the comments, oh, you're making death threats. No, it's a wish. I wish each and every one of your fathers, brothers, cousins, sons, nephews, sisters, daughters, all of them. I wish the same injustice on them, so that way you know what it feels like. Because that's the only way that you people are going to change your attitude, is when this shit happens to you and it hits close to home. Right now you're so separated and far away from it that you think it's okay to say the shit that you're saying. But it's not. So yes, I wish all of this bad things on your family. They deserve it. You deserve it. You're the problem with this world, not the rest of us. The rest of us are fighting for the rights that we have and the justices that we deserve. You people are the problem. You are racist, you are bigoted, and you're scum. To the rest of you, bye.